Hey, Christian Webb here with part 3 of my retouching video for a headshot. Um, let's get right into it. Let's just get right into it. When last we left this image, we were here. So this is the before, this is the after. As you can see, let me go to the before. You see we cleaned up around the forehead area here, the skin discoloration and the gradient changes in skin tone. And also we cleaned up on the eyes here and some of the makeup and skin issues we had over here. And I believe we did a little bit of the network. There's shadow being cast from this collar here and then the natural shadow under the chin. We cleaned up a little bit of that area just to make it look a little less noticeable. So what we're going to do today, we're going to get right into it. I'm going to go in and do some eye work really quick. We're going to reduce this shoulder here in the front and probably remove some jewelry. I stated in the last video that this necklace is optional to take it out or not. It's so subtle, it doesn't affect the shot. Normally jewelry is not in headshots. I don't have my clients wearing jewelry. If they show up, I tell them to take it off. Earrings, anything, especially anything that's too sparkly or blingy or anything along those lines. But in this case, this necklace is so thin and so small, it's not going to affect anything. But I'm going to take it out just to show you how I would take it out anyway. So there's also a little issue here in the nose. You can see that little shine right there. It's not a booger, okay? It's just a little shine in the inside of the nose there. We're going to get rid of that as well. It's small, but I'll show you why it makes a small difference. So let's go in. I'm going to go ahead. We're taking off right from where we were previously. I'm going to duplicate the layer. I'm going to go in, and what we're going to do is, let's see where we're at. We are going to zoom into the eye here, and we're going to take, what I like to do here is just bring out some of the highlight in the eye or some of the color. It just depends. You have to use this kind of sparingly or know how you're going to use it. You can choose shadows, you can choose midtones. I usually start with midtones. And what did I just do? Let's go back here. In here, brush size. Actually, let's go back to right about there. Forgive me for being so slow with this. And now let's change our brush size. All right, so I'm on, you can see here we're using the dodge tool. I am set to midtones. My exposure is set at about 6%. And we're just going to go in and color a little bit just to bring out some of the brown in the eyes. That's all this really is. This is not cheating or, you're not doing anything to make the eyes fake. You're simply, the eye color is there. It's just depending on how the light's hitting it and what's going on. I'm just making sure that it's, that the color can be seen just a little bit more. That's all it is. It's just giving a little eye pop. You're not doing anything drastic like oversaturating it or trying to make the eyes look fake. That's not what this is about. I go into the highlights, change my dodge tool to highlights, and I swipe over the eye, that catch light in the eye. And if you look at the before and after, you see it just adds a little bit of pop. Now, like I said, always zoom out and look at things from a distance, and it will help you even more to see what you did. Now you see that's after, before, after. It's a subtle effect. If it's too much and you feel you went overboard, come in here with your opacity and just bring it down a little bit. Might bring it down to here, and boom, you can still see what I did. Okay, you can still see that it just adds that little extra in the eyes, and the eyes are ever so important. Always. I can't stress that enough. The eyes need to be clear. They need to have that pop. People need to look at that shot and engage right with the eyes. So that's why I do that little step. So this is where we are. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to deal with that shoulder. Let's just get that out of the way. It's a very easy thing to deal with. And I just go in, duplicate the layer, and I use my, what do you think, liquify tool to just go in and liquify that shoulder. Depending on how a person is positioned, depending on what they're wearing, this can or can't, it will or will not be an issue. Sometimes it's not always a problem, but, and quite frankly, I could leave this alone. It's not going to really ruin her headshot. No one's going to think anything less of her or believe that she's not fit for the role just because this shoulder looks it. This is more of this is me just being nitpicky about that. I prefer, especially on a lady for that shoulder to be a little softer. And just depending on the angle and, like I said, what they're wearing, sometimes it doesn't always come out like that. Now, before I go in and just start doing this, okay, you need to be mindful of your background and what's going on back there. And I'll show you why. So let me just undo what I just did here, okay? And I'll show you what has to happen. You go into your freeze tool, make sure it says show mask is on. Your freeze tool will stop anything from being affected by your liquify tool that you're using, the current one you're selecting. So this is freezing the background. Now in this case, because the background is kind of, it's so blurred, you really can't tell. There's no real distinguished pattern or something that's going on back there. It may not make a difference. But sometimes you will notice, I've gone in and I've made some adjustments to the shoulder or a piece of clothing, and the line in the background shifts with that liquify tool. When you're warping something, you'll see it warps the background. So in order to prevent that, throw your freeze mask on. You can take the mask off once you are ready to go back with your tool here. And then I just start making adjustments to her shoulder. I bring it down a little bit, here, here, here. It's not major work. It's very simple stuff. It's just using your eye to figure out, well, you know, I can make her shoulder look a little leaner. I can make this, I can bring this in a little bit. Just change your brush size in order to change the effect of the actual tool. And that's really all it comes down to. Sometimes I'll mess with collars on the guy. If there's a lot of collar gap going on with the neck, I try to adjust that. Perhaps I'll work on a guy's headshot in another video just to show you what I'm talking about there. This is pretty straightforward. This is, you know, as far as I'm concerned, that's done. Click OK, and boom. Now you'll see before, after, before, after. Now I did make a mistake here. Right here I screwed up, so I need to go back in, go into liquify. This is why it helps to come out a little bit. You see I was a little too far in. I didn't see this. So I just need to fix that. It's not a big deal. You start to get a sense of what looks right and what looks wrong. Now, again, this is completely just your own process. You'll have to know what a shoulder looks funny, or if an arm looks warped, or if you didn't do this as accurately as you need to, you'll see it. Take a step back, you know, you click OK, take a look at it, and boom. Now, the difference in that, is it a huge deal? No, but it did affect the shot just a little bit. And hopefully you guys see that, and you know, you can apply this to your own images when needed. Now let's go ahead. There's a small piece of bokeh. It's making me nuts here. I'm not using the tablet to zoom in because I hate switching between modes. But right here, that's a small. It's a very small thing. I'm not even going to change the. I'm not even going to duplicate the layer for that. I'm just going to stay with what I have. I'm going to bring up the flow on my clone stamp, just go in a little bit. I'm going to take this out just because it's slightly annoying. These are little things, people, very little things. This is nothing major. These are little things. This is not going to get you your headshot. You know, you're not going to get headshot award of the year because you paid attention to something this small. It's more just a matter of nitpicking and deciding what makes a difference for you. So long as the headshot is clean and contrasty, and it really accentuates to your client, that's what counts the most. While I'm on the clone stamp, let's go into her nose. That's always fun, right? Let's go in there and let's just take out this little bit of distracting shine. Again, major, maybe not, but someone is looking directly at her face, so it can cause a bit of an issue. Let's put it to darken for the mode on the clone stamp. I'm just gonna go in and slightly clone that out. Let's fit the screen. Let's take a look what we did. Boom, gone. So the shoulder's gone. That little bit of nose shiny is gone. Now, I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at that shine that's gone, and now it affects the nose in a different way. I feel like it looks unnatural. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back, and I'm going to leave a little bit of it there. I don't know if you see what I just did, but I left a very small amount. Let me zoom in just so you can see. That's before, that's after. And I left this little bit right there just because it looks more natural that way. So we're done. We're going to merge that layer down. We've completed the eyes today, the shoulder, and we took care of that little nose issue. Now let's go ahead and deal with the jewelry. Another, duplicate the layer. Boom, go in. You can do this a lot of ways. I can't emphasize enough that there's a million ways to skin a cat in Photoshop. You can do this so many ways. You can patch, tool it out, whatever you want to do. I'm going to be very simple here. I'm going to take this, the healing brush tool, and I'm literally just going to go in and swipe it out. It is not the most technically correct or perfect method. And again, I'm not Aaron Nace and those guys where, but this is an easy fix. It's relatively straightforward. You don't need to go overboard with something like this. And I find with Photoshop, the right tool for the right job, and as long as you don't overdo anything, you'll be okay. That's my motto. I don't know if I have is that a motto? Yeah, I guess, sort of. I'm just swiping in here and taking this out. You will see issues as you first do it. You just need to go in and try your best to clean those issues up. If it becomes a bit of a headache and you're starting to see that you can't clean it up with this tool, go in with the clone stamp and make your adjustments. So I will go in now with the clone stamp. I'll set it to normal. I'll change my flow back to about 6%, somewhere in there. Just come in and lightly clean up the skin around that area where the necklace, where I smeared a little bit. Change my brush size. Hope you guys can hear me okay. I keep going in and out because I'm moving away from the mic accidentally. I'm sorry. But hopefully, I mean, you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just where the necklace was, I'm just cleaning up the skin area around where I smeared with that brush. I'm sorry, with the healing brush. So the other way to do that, since that did leave a line, is just go in and switch this mode on the clone stamp to darken. Go in and do it again. All right. That looks okay for now. I need to do more work on that though. So let me just go back into normal mode. I'm going to bring my flow up a little bit more. And I'm going to attempt to improve that. The other thing, as I mentioned in the previous video, I'm moving very fast for the sake of the video, so as to not bore you or have a massive file here or one of those things. And this is just me kind of moving along. You should definitely take your time, pour your wine, do it right. Look at me, I'm making music, making songs. And really dedicate to getting these things looking as nice as you can. Keep this in mind though. It's a headshot. It's not a beauty shot. You're not selling lipstick and such. And we talked about that in the, I think the first or the second video, where you do not need perfection. You're not going to spend so much time trying to get it absolutely flawless because it's not going to be an up-close shot. You're looking at it from this distance, sometimes smaller than this. So for now, and again, for the sake of the video, I'm going to move on past this because I could do some more work in here. I can see that, yes. So I'm not suggesting to leave that, but I am telling you for the purposes of this right now, we're going to move on. But I would recommend that you take your time and do these things the right way. The earring, same thing. Let's go in and just deal with that since we're here. Again, I'm going to take this layer and I'm going to merge down. I don't like having too many layers. Makes me nuts. Again, I'm not Aaron. I must have given Aaron Nates like 20 shout outs between these videos. All right. I'm going to go in. Watch it. This is the sloppy way of doing this. Boom, boom, boom. There have been times where I've intentionally left what would look like a little hole for a piercing because it just, for whatever reason, it looked right. And then there's times where I just completely wipe it out and don't even bother. This is one of those times where I'm just going to leave it just like that. Hit the screen, see what we got. Boom, gone. No big deal. To stress again, you could go in and you could spend an hour on that or not, but definitely get it to the point where it looks right, where you pull out, you look back at it and go, you know what, that's not bad. That looks right. It's not going to be distracting. No one's going to really nitpick that unless you zoom in and really, 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 really give it your attention. So I'm seeing right here the shadow under the neck, which we cleaned up the previous video, but I'm going to go in and I just want to touch that one more time. It's right in here. I just want to get rid of that. And that's it. So that's gone. So we are pretty much where we want to be overall with the shot. Now comes a few clicks that make things a little easier and just they're kind of shortcuts. I'm going to merge this down. I'm going to create a new layer and we're going to check something called image auto-tone. Like auto-tune, but auto-tone. This is auto-tone. Boom. You're going to notice that sometimes, depending on the image, depending on the lighting, depending on the colors and such, that's going to make a difference or it's not. It's going to do something funky with the colors or it's going to brighten it or it's going to change something. In this case, it's doing pretty much exactly what I want. If it goes too far, again, come to your opacity, bring it down just a little bit. Take a look at it, see if it makes sense, see if the color looks right, and that's it. I merge it down. You can do the same thing with auto contrast. You can come in, duplicate your layer. Always duplicate your layer before you do that. Come in, hit auto contrast. It's going to pop it just a little bit or it's not. Sometimes it does something really crazy and it will give you a completely different look. But in this case, it kind of just does exactly what I need it to do. So I go in, merge that down, and you see where we are. This image is pretty much complete. While I'm on this one video, and I know it's going to make it a little bit longer, but I'm going to go in and show you something else I do regarding backgrounds. I'll take a curves layer, an adjustment layer, bring it down. I will then invert, take my brush, set it to 100% on flow, and I will go in and paint back, just darkening the background. That's all I did. Sometimes that's useful if the background is too bright and you feel like, you know what, I want my subject to pop off of that. My big thing is always making sure that the client seems to be popping out of the screen somehow. They look 3D or they look like they're right in your face and they are trying to talk to you. They're trying to get in your movie or your TV show or whatever it's going to be. But that's subjective. Again, you can see it makes a slight difference here, right? You can see that. Again, if you don't like it or you went overboard, go in, take your opacity, slide it back a little bit, and you are done. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to merge this down, and I'm going to say we are just about done. There's a couple of little tiny things here. With hair, in her case, she's got really cool, funky hair. It's not a big deal, but I will go in and take the healing brush, and you see these tiny little either grays or just little straggly pieces of hair, whatever they are. I will take them out just slightly. It's not always necessary. There are times where you struggle and you're there for a long time, 45 minutes, just cleaning up hair and stray hairs and trying to make hair look neat. Or in her case, to my advantage here, she's got really funky, cool hair that's all over and it doesn't require any real touch up. This is great. This is great. So you fit that on screen. I'm even going to come out a little bit more. Before, after. Look at the hair. Before, after. Makes a slight difference. Is it major? No. But is it that extra special thing that this is what a retouch is, this is what a headshot looks, this is what defines, professionalism? Yes, it does. It does add that. So let's merge that down. We are just about done. I'm going to show you my last trick. It's not really a trick, but I have an action that basically does a Facebook resize and sharpen. I did a blog on it, so I'm not going to explain too much about it here, but it's one of the last things I do. I go in, I play that action, and it will take my image down to the right proportions for Facebook. So if you notice my stuff on Facebook, it doesn't get too compressed and screwed up looking, and I try to keep everything sharp and clean. That's what that does. You can find that Facebook resize and sharpen. If you go to my blog, go to theactorsheadshot.com or christianwebphoto.com and go to my blog. I think it's on sharpening images for Facebook. And you'll see there the information on that. And that is about the end. This is where we are. So we started here. We ended it here. Started here, ended there. She still looks, in closing, let me just say this. She looks exactly the same. Same person. I didn't do anything to make her look fake. I didn't make her more beautiful, less beautiful. She's as gorgeous as she was. She's as gorgeous here as she is here. And it's got the same effect. I just cleaned it up and did what I had to do to make it a really polished shot. So with that said, I want to thank you for watching. I will get better at these retouching videos. I promise you. I'll try to add all sorts of funky, fun stuff to it once I have time to commit to that. But I hope this has helped anyone who is watching these. And if you have any questions, always feel free to hit me up. Hit me in comments, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, whatever. Whatever you want to do. Stay dope. Much love to everyone. And I will catch you on the next one.